Yeah, my name is Raman Bhardwaj, and I'm a visual artist, and I create murals, paintings, illustrations, sculpture sometimes, animations, graphics, and I'm basically from India, but right now I'm in Greensboro since last 2 years, and I plan to stay here. Uh, I am basically from India, South Asia. So I spent most of my life there, and uh, I've been drawing since I was like 6 year old. Like every other kid, I was more interested in drawing, and I was very introvert child. So throughout my schooling, I was drawing a lot of figures. Like I started from copying a cartoon and perfected it, and like everyone does, copying the Spider-Man, Batman's, and other characters. And besides that, I was also interested in drawing a lot of Indian gods. We have very strong imagery, and so that fascinated me, and I would keep making those characters. And so uh, and I think I knew, like, people realized around me in school and everywhere that I was good at drawing, and I always carried a thick, sketchbook full of drawings. And my father really encouraged me. He was a writer uh, in Indian language, and he really encouraged me to draw. And he had some friends who were illustrators and painters, and he introduced me to them, and I was very impressed. And by, I think, by grade seventh, my father was confident that that I should pursue a degree and be a professional artist when I grow up. So and I had my mind set on joining the School of Art after the 12th grade. Since that time, and I was always doing a little bit of freelance illustrations for his friends who were like book publishers, and they would allow me to to draw for their children books, and even pay me a little bit. And that helped me with my pocket money at that time. And I kind of grew confident that I can draw, and it's been accepted, it's printed. And then I went on to join the School of Art in my birth city, Chandigarh. It's in North India. And so I did a 4 year degree in that. And while I was studying, I won a national award for illustrations in India. So that further, kind of reinforced that, yes, I'm doing good even in the professional college. So, and by final year, I joined a newspaper, a leading English newspaper, as an illustrator in India. And from there, I think my career was good. I was getting popular in North India, in at least 3 or 4 states. I made thousands of illustrations. I remained an illustrator for about a decade. And I worked with two leading big newspapers in India. And on the side, I was doing all these paintings and sculpture and exhibitions of paintings and drawings. And I became quite famous as a, known for my paintings and drawings and illustrations. So uh, and about you can say, I think about 2009 or 2010, I went like full time uh, freelance artist. And internet was good at that time, and it was a boom of finding work outside India. And I connected with a lot of clients in USA, um, UK, Australia, and it kind of opened a new world for me to do. And I was doing a lot of book illustrations and animations and graphic designs besides my painting. Finally, I moved here 2 years ago on an artist visa, and here I am. Here I found a new thing, which is called murals. Like, I never did murals when I was in India, but this is a big thing here, and I was pretty excited, and I'm very lucky to be able to do now more than 30 murals in 2 years in Greensboro, Winston-Salem, this area. And yeah, that's how it's been going. Okay. Yeah, there have been so many influences. Like you don't even sometimes realize that this is influencing me, but still, yeah, I'll try to uh, concise it. So I would say, like for illustrations, uh, the comics like DC Comics, and even in some of Indian illustrators at that time, like there was a cartoonist known as Pran. His comics were very popular when I was in school in 80s, and he influenced me a lot for illustrations. And for paintings, I would say there was a famous Indian artist known as Hussein, M.F. Hussein, Maqbool Fida Hussein. So I liked his work, figurative work and drawings and large he would paint large scale human figures, dancing figures, and that's kind of what I also like to do, athletic and dancing figures. And interestingly, he started his career as a billboard painter in maybe in 1950s or 40s in India. At that time the movie billboard were hand painted, and he started his career that, and he went on to become like world famous and really big artist. Those were, yeah, I would say early influences, and then it got polished when I joined the School of Art. Then I got to know about bigger artists, like then one of the artists, Renaissance artists, Michelangelo. He influenced my work a lot in the beginning because I was always interested in figurative art, and I think his figures were really powerful. And Sistine Chapel and David, and like everyone is influenced by them. So I when I started serious paintings, like conceptual paintings, so they do bear a lot of reference from Renaissance artists like Michelangelo, or the Baroque artist Caravaggio for his lighting. And but then the imagery started looking a lot Western. Even though like I was using the themes from my Indian mythology, but I would paint them as Renaissance artists would paint. So it was kind of a maybe odd combination, or I just liked it. uh, and then of course Picasso, or Dali, all those who have influenced the world of art in a large way. As Henry Matisse was one of my favorites because of, again, the flow of the body, because I lay a lot of emphasis on flow of the body, dancing figures, and so, and colors, of course, like I use bright colors. um, Coming, it can be my roots in India, because we in India colors are big. Like we have festivals like Holi, and if you look at Indian miniatures, it's very saturated colors that we use, and I think that also influenced me. So there has been a whole lot of influences going around. And uh, I came here as I had some clients, and one of my friends lives in Raleigh, and they suggested that this is a good place to start, and it's not uh, easy to afford, clean, and very green, and driving around will not be a problem. Coming from India, uh, we drive on, our cars are differently driven. It's a left side drive, and and so I like the city instantly when I came here. I think it kind of reminds me of my home city also. It's much bigger, but the kind of slow pace city, and that's where I come from, and I like it. Like I don't like rush. I don't like too much of you know uh, rush hour. So yeah, this is good. And I think it has given me a lot of opportunities to especially the biggest thing that I mentioned earlier, like adding murals to my skill set. And I think that was the biggest thing. I'll always be grateful to Greensboro to give me that. And maybe it wasn't possible if I was in any other city. um, I don't know, but I think it's lucky to be in Greensboro, and yeah, I could, I thought I wanted to do it, and I was able to do it. I think that's a very beautiful thing that Greensboro, you know, made me do. And there, and also I worked with city also for one of the projects. I did a mural for the Parks and Recreation, and I think that that's a really big achievement, and I'm very proud of it. And if my father was alive, he would have been really happy to know that. Projects going on right now. I'm working on a mural inside a school in High Point. It's called Fairview Elementary School. So yeah, I'm doing a mural for them, which involves their mascot eagle and, you know, a bunch of kids. So it's kind of a colorful mural, and I love painting kids, and it's good. So apart from that, I have a mural work going on the Lee's Chapel Road. It's in the shopping center, and I've painted a lot of artwork on that inside that shopping center. So I'm working on the facade of that whole shopping center, you know, painting some abstract, colorful things. And there are some books that I'm working on. There's a, a religious organization in Michigan. It's called Your Story R, and I've been engaged with them for the last 2 years and working on some book illustrations for kids based on Bible stories. And that's pretty interesting for me, coming from a Hindu background. So I get to know about Christianity. And there's another religious book for a writer I'm working on. She's based in Nashville, and so yeah. And there's another book for a gentleman who lives in High Point. It's also for kids, and like inspiring quotes, or, you know, something like that. So I enjoy all doing that, all that stuff. And so yes, like a few books and few murals, and something always keeps popping up. That's good. The work hasn't been affected much, you know. As an artist, you know, I can spend a lot of time inside the studio, and it doesn't bother me if I don't go out. And so, and I was, like, as a freelancer, I was working from home on my computer, so that hasn't changed. I can still, you know, draw illustrations or designs and email to my clients, and, you know, so that has not been a problem. But yes, despite that, and also for murals, I'm still going out. And although I'm a little scared every day when I go out to paint, you know, you never know. But I think it's been good. Like, people, I don't get to meet so many people outside, which is good. I mean, you don't want to contract the virus. And personally, like, I had plans to visit India earlier this year. Those are canceled. So that is something I don't like. But yeah, everyone is stuck, so we are waiting for it. So when the travels resume, and I can go. And my day is not very well planned. uh, those are, I don't know if it is a perk, or, you know, a bane to be a self-employed, because, you know, eh, there's no boss, there's no time to report, and I can manage my own time. So, but yeah, usually, you know, I wake up, you know, you can say sometimes 8, sometimes 9 a.m., sometimes 7. It's pretty flexible depending on how late I slept the previous night. But yeah, so on an average, waking up at 8 a.m. and then checking my emails and responding to clients' emails. And then I try to, you know, do the illustration work for the first half, and then I go out to paint the murals wherever it's going on. And by evening, you know, until there is daylight, I paint on the walls, and then I come back and eat a little, and then work more on my computer. and and then some, if there is some painting project going on, that I work on that, and it can pretty much extend to 12 midnight or past midnight, and until I just can't stay awake any longer and I go to sleep. That's how it is mostly. And I would paint on Saturdays also, sometimes Sundays also. So, but I do like to take breaks, and as it is, like, it's COVID-19, you can't go anywhere. So, so working is all you can do. I think being a commercial artist, the struggle is to satisfy your inner artist and also satisfy the client. Well, I guess you can relate to it, and it's pretty much with every artist. And there can be frustrations when people don't understand your vision, or they don't trust your, ideas, and they want to force their own ideas, and and they don't know what's going to look good or what not. But still, you have to find a middle path where you can, because I like to exercise my creative freedom a lot, and so I have to constantly push for it. That, and that's something that, a struggle that I find, to convince people, and to keep fighting for your artistic expression, creative freedom. That is something, and it can be, otherwise it can, I know it can become a task, and it can get boring if you're just taking instructions and doing something that you don't feel, and then you lose the whole point of being in the creative world. So I think that's it. I don't know if it sounds like any struggle, but for me it is a struggle. And second struggle would be, well, if you run out of commissions, and then you have to always hustle and hunt. And I think both of these things are interrelated. I'm glad that I have work lined up for a few more months, and with Coda Street Art, Mr. Marty also, like, I have ongoing projects with him. But then uh, with other clients also, like, you can't refuse some or many projects just because you don't like them. Some of them you have to take in for money, and so those are some struggles. Well, I look at my art as, a channel for uh, a couple of things. Apart from the self-expression, which is, pleasing myself, I always think that it should be uh, something for the people, for masses, and it can be in two ways. One is to entertain them, and other is to carry some message. So that's my personal thoughts about my work, and I can, I can see that other artists should also think that way. Although it's like, to each his own. Like, everyone wants to do whatever they want, and everyone is free to do however they want to treat their art. But I like it. I like to approach art in this way, to entertain people and to also carry some message, some social message, some cultural message, not particularly political, but if it can, be inspiring, encourage some positivity in someone, or maybe, make them stop and think of something which you feel as a person, something going on in society, in the world, or anyone. So I like to speak about that also sometimes. And other than that, entertainment, of course, like, it should entertain someone. I don't like my art to be so stuck up, like, it's all in my, like, this is my vision, I don't care whether you like it or not, whether you can connect to it or not. No, I'm not that person. Like, I like to connect. Like, I think that if I'm drawing or painting it, I'm pleasing myself, but at the same point, it is very important for me that it moves people, and people who look at it should be able to connect emotionally with it. and intellectual also maybe later, but first it should be visually pleasing, emotionally connecting. Those are top points that I go for. Yeah. Yeah, like 5 6 years ago, there weren't as many public art. There literally no public art, and now it just gained momentum in the last maybe 4 or 5 years. So yeah, this was the right time I came here. I think, synchronicity or